Good day, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inspired with Christopher Williams. I am your host, Christopher Williams, navigator and motivator for you on the path to achieving your goals. I want to take the time to thank everyone for all the likes and all the comments that you've been not only leaving on social media, but also that you've been personally giving me in person. Being able to know that you guys are getting a lot out of the show is really makes me feel good because that's really the idea of the show. You know, we wanted to do something very unique, but we also wanted to do something where we can get a lot of direct feedback and also something that a lot of people can take every day and use in their everyday life, not only business wise, but also personal goals and personal achievement wise. So thank you for tuning in, and also just know that we're going to keep the content coming. All right, we're going to keep this thing going as long as you guys enjoy it, and as long as we can know that you guys are getting something out of it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Today we're going to build on something called personal branding. I know you may remember from one of the other shows we talked about branding from a business aspect. So today we're going to tackle it from a personal aspect. Okay, your personal brand. All right, who are you individually? You know, aside from business, aside from anything else. Who are you? What is your brand? All right. Now, if you can recall, brand basically is anything, any kind of symbol, characteristic, any kind of service that you provide that can distinguish a business from another business. So we're going to take that idea and we're going to apply it to you, the person. Okay. So anything that's distinguishable about you from someone else, whether that's the way the way you present yourself, or the style of communication you choose to use, or just maybe how your presence fills a room. Some people just can fill a room with their presence and you can tell that they're there. But the idea is still the same. It's a part of your brand. It's a part of who you are. But we want to make sure that when you're thinking about your personal brand, think about who you are as a person. What distinguishes you from someone else? Whether that be business-wise. I know a lot of entrepreneurs are tuning into the show. What distinguishes you on a daily basis from someone else? Keep this in mind, especially the entrepreneurs out there. You basically are your business 24/7. You're always on front stage, okay? So whether it's first thing in the morning or the last thing in the day, you are a representation of your business, okay? How do you want others to see you? That's what you always have to remember, because like I said, you're always on stage. So make sure that you're keeping this in mind when you leave or when you come back in, because at the end of the day, your business is going to be your brand, and your brand is going to be your business. Okay? Now, the thing about personal branding to remember is that a lot of it involves impressions. Okay? Now, most of the time when you think of impressions, you always think of people say, oh, you only have one time to make a good first impression. Well, technically that's true. The idea about a first impression is it takes a long time to change, right? How people see you based on how you interact with them on the first attempt is how they see you for a long time. And that image sometimes takes a good amount of time to break. So think about this whenever you're interacting with potential clients or contacts or even business partners and friends. Make sure that you're presenting the best you possible, okay? Some people say, you are a reflection of the person that you want people to see. Not always how they see you, but you show them who you want to be. If you feel yourself to be a, future doctor, train yourself in a way to carry yourself such. So think about that when you're interacting with somebody. If you're a business professional, when people see you, they should automatically feel something about you that's about business, simply by the way you carry yourself. This is very important to remember, because if this is your first impression, this could lead you along a path of success with an individual. And it also allows you to be able to interact with them on a different level. Sometimes information is shared because people feel comfortable with you based on how you interact with them and the person that they feel you to be. But this all ties into your brand, because at the end of the day, they're going to take you and they're going to create in their mind their perception of you based on how you guys interact. I can think back on to my earlier years, and one of my professors at school told me, I always know your work is your work because you have a certain feel when you do things. You have a certain level of professionalism about yourself, and I always know you by that. So that became part of my brand. And I remembered that on up through my years because that became the feedback everywhere else I went. So whenever I decided to venture out into my business, my business goals and trying to do things that, that I felt were in my path to achieve, I made sure I used this to my benefit because this was something that came very natural to me. So always remember your benefits as well when you're thinking about your brand and who you are. Another thing to remember is that you want to dress for your day. A lot of times you hear people that tell you, you want to dress for the job you want, not the job you have. And that's really true. You always want to see yourself as the end goal, not as you currently are. Sometimes you're going to go through things along your journey, and it may make you feel a little bit less than what you want to accomplish or the person you want to achieve. You have to train your mind to always think about the next stage or the end game. If eventually you want to be a successful entrepreneur who, sells real estate, carry yourself like that every single day because you never know who you may run into. Positive energy has a way of attracting other positive energy. So the more you conduct yourself as a person you truly want other people to see and as the person that you want to be down the road, you never know. You could speed up that process a lot faster just by being you. I tell a lot of my customers, as well as a lot of my colleagues, that quality service will keep your customers coming back, but your brand is what's going to initially get them in the door. So as you're going out and as you're building your brand and as you're adding more stuff to what you do, who you are, and what you're about, remember that because at the end of the day, all of that's going to tie into that first interaction, that first encounter, that first greet with the customer. How can I help you? How can I be of assistance? Or even that first handshake, right? And there's a lot that goes into a handshake, as we all know. But this all ties into who you are and what your brand is. So, not only this, but I want you to think about a few other things as well. Ask yourself a few questions when you're going out. Would I want to do business with me today? Would I really want to go into business with me today? Why is that important, you may ask? Well, if you wouldn't want to do business with yourself, then how can you expect anybody else to do business with you? That should be your question that you ask yourself every single morning when you leave. And not only that, certain times throughout the day. We all go through things. We all go through a lot of no's. We all go through a lot of negativity that we have to overcome throughout our day. But to wean yourself back to getting on track, ask yourself that sometimes. Would I want to do business with me today? Even change it a little bit. Would I want to do business with me right now? That'll get you back focused and that'll keep you motivated and that'll keep you on track. Not only that, ask yourself this. Am I a good representation of my product? A lot of times when we are out, especially if you're in the business of selling something, or if you're trying to get new business, or if you're trying to get somebody to buy into an idea of yours, you have to think about this, is that their only interaction with your product at that time is you. So you're the only representation that they have of the business being successful, a good job being done at a service, or being able to use you as a potential networking client or friend in a certain atmosphere. So you have to make sure you're a representation of your work product. Not only of that, if you're an entrepreneur, of your business product. Because if other people don't think that you would represent yourself or represent them and what they would need your help to do, then you're most likely not going to get the reaction or going to get the result that you want. So here are a few points to remember for you when you're thinking about your brand. One thing to remember is something called brand awareness. Okay? With brand awareness, you have to think of a few things such as the fact that people talk a lot. Okay? A lot of times, after people meet somebody interesting, they're going to tell somebody else about the person that they just met. Simply because it was something about that person that stuck out in their mind enough to the idea that they made such an impact in their day. Always remember that you want that to be a positive experience. We interact with groups of people all the time, whether you're walking down the street, you're walking in a crowd, but we only have a few interactions where you meet somebody very specific and you get to make eye to eye contact. Make sure that's a positive experience, not only for yourself, but also for that person. Because not only do people talk a lot, people also post a lot, social media, people tweet a lot, people Facebook a lot. So there's so many different ways of communication out there now that one person could tell a potential 200 people in one day about you. You want those to be positive interactions. You want those to be positive things said about you, not negative things. Not only that, remember professionalism. Okay? Every interaction you have should be professional at the least. You want to make sure that you're promoting yourself, promoting your cause, or just letting people know that you're a great person to meet or a great person to hang out with, regardless of if it's business related or not. Because you never know. You may interact with that person in a different scenario or a different stage of life where that person could benefit from you and you could benefit from that person. Not only that, going back to the social media piece, a lot of times that's how people get recognized is through social media. So if you're promoting a service, one person's good review of your business could take you a very long way. Things like Yelp, a lot of other things like Urban Spoon, especially things with restaurants and things where people have the opportunity to share their experience and rate your service are key to a business's success. So you want to make sure you're doing the right things when you're meeting people. Remember, you only get one time to make a good impression, so you want to make sure that's a good one. Here are a few branding tips for you. Always be prepared to promote. As we've been saying, you're going to interact with people, hundreds of people in one day. So you always want to make sure you're at your very best. You always want to make sure that you're professional. Also, always be prepared to have an attitude of gratitude, because the more positive attitude that you have, the more of that energy can be returned to you. Things in this world have a way of coming back to you based on how you put it out. So if you put more positive energy in, more positive attitude in, more positive is going to come back to you. Always remember to tailor your content as well. When you have a chance to be in front of your target audience, when you have that rare opportunity to truly see somebody and be able to say, man, that's who I'm going to be selling to, or man, that's the person I need to talk to. Make sure that your language, your body language, and also your content is tailored towards that person or that audience, because you never know who they know, right? That person could know the next person that you're going to need to talk to, or that person may know a better person that you need to talk to. So make sure that you always have that attitude, you're always ready to promote yourself, and you're always professional. We want to thank our sponsors real quick. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more Inspired with Christopher Williams. So stay tuned.
10 years to learn the business. 10 years to make a name. 1 year on your own. It takes time to build a small business, but only 60 days to transform it with email marketing from Constant Contact. Sign up with Constant Contact and get 60 days of free email marketing to generate referrals, connect with clients, and build the business you've always wanted. Constant Contact. Start your 60-day free trial today.
Today's point of power comes from the idea that one day you want to be able to look back and laugh about how you made it through the tough times. One of my personal goals is to always be better the next year than I am right now. You look at a lot of things that you have on your plate, you look at a lot of things that you have as far as goals that you want to achieve, and sometimes you realize, wow, this is a lot of stuff. And sometimes it can be very overwhelming. But the idea is this, is that the more you strive and the more you try and the more you challenge yourself to go that much above where you are now, the more you learn and the stronger you get. You know, sometimes when you think back on a lot of things that, that you've accomplished, you realize, I've learned a lot of ways to do different things. And when you realize that, you realize, hey, not only have I learned a lot of ways to do different things, but I now know how to do a lot of different things. So everything is supposed to go towards the good of what you're trying to achieve. Use all of that momentum that you have, use all the resources that you've learned, that you've amassed currently, and put that use towards achieving the new goals that you have. Because one thing that you truly have to understand is that the more you stay trying to do the same thing, the less you learn, right? It took you having to kind of, go beyond yourself to get where you are now, right? Exactly. So that should be something that you continue to do to move forward. The next year, you want to look back and be able to say, wow, not only did I accomplish a lot more, but I learned a lot more ways to do more things. And use that momentum to make sure that you continue to kind of spread yourself a little bit. One of my professors at school always told me, you want to not only grow taller, but you want to grow a little bit wider when it comes to your goals as well. Because you want to make sure that you can reach a larger span of people. And sometimes that means you having to do a few things a little different than you would think you normally would have to. It may mean having to contact different types of people. It may mean having to, speak at different venues or speak on different topics or collaborate with a group of people. Sometimes that's uncomfortable for people, but a lot of times it's about getting out of your comfort zone. It's about making sure that you take that leap of faith, so to speak. You never know where you may land unless you at least take that first initial step to go forward and to achieve more than you've achieved currently. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We've had a great time. We've achieved a lot. And I'm sure you're going to be able to take some of the things that we've talked about today and you're going to be able to apply it to your personal life and not only stay inspired yourself, but also use that to inspire others. Always feel free to contact me, facebook.com/Williams Inc., onewilliamsenterprises@gmail.com, and onewilliamsenterprises.com. I'm always available for you. Feel free to leave a comment as well, either on my website or some of my social media pages, or YouTube is where you could also find some of the other shows, as well as BizLinks TV. Like, share, comment as you see fit. You never know. Somebody may benefit from something that you shared with them about the show. Until next time, stay inspired.